With that, let's move ahead and move on to the next conversation, starting with inviting our first speaker of that. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Jayesh Thakkar, VCIO, VCTO, Head of Technology at Lubricode Specialities Private Limited in Mumbai. He's somebody who's got deep expertise in IT and back office functions, IT, infrastructure design, resource management, and vendor management. Thank you so much, Jayesh, for joining us. We'd also like to call upon Mr. Pavan Goyal. He's right here. Let's give him a warm round of applause. Advisor, investor, mentor to Predixion AI, Sarthak. He's somebody who brings in more than 20 years of leadership exposure at Fortune 500 companies like Tata Group, IFCI, ICICI Bank, Credit Suisse, and JP Morgan. While Pavan is right here, we're going to be moving ahead into calling our next speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Keyur Thakkar. Let's give him a warm round of applause. Professor of Finance and Control at IIM Indore. He's somebody who specializes in finance, and he's also an independent director at the Shakti Pumps Limited and DG VCL, and sharing over 25 plus years of his expertise. Maybe also like to call upon stage Prabir Roy, who's a serial entrepreneur and director at Allies Capital. Do we have Mr. Roy out here? Yes, right there. Let's give him a warm round of applause. He co-founded Paymate and has been the founding member for so many years, and has also been serving as an independent director at companies like Nazara Technologies and Sportskeeda. Prabir, of course, the world knows him. He's won prestigious awards like the Red Herring Asia Top 100 Indo-European Business Forum FinTech Leader Award. Prabir, always a pleasure having you at a platform, and thank you so much for joining in. Let's give him a warm round of applause as we welcome him. We'd also like to welcome on stage Dr. Suresh A. Shan, who's the MD and CEO of Dr. SAS BITS and IT Consultancy. Let's give him a warm round of applause. He's somebody who's got over 31 years of expertise in IT and has won more than 740 awards. We need to get a session for you and the awards at a later stage. All right, maybe also invite on stage Chandramouli P., CTO of Humane Technologies. Let's give him a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Innovative leader, tech strategist with an expertise in AI, ML, blockchain, fintech, automation, and compliance, with over 2 decades of his expertise. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd also like to call upon Vaibhav S. Joshi, the co-founder and CEO of Tableturn Tech. Do we have him out here? I'm afraid not. Believes like, I don't think Mr. Joshi is around, right? All right, so I'm going to be taking the opportunity of skipping and moving to our next speaker. We'd also like to call upon Deepak Bhatia, who is the co-founder and chief business officer at QuickWork, a company focused in helping businesses achieve growth, profitability, and efficiency through automation and integration. Somebody who has more than 25 years of diverse industry experience. He's held senior leadership roles in Aditya Birla Sun Life and companies like Gupshup. Thank you, Mr. Bhatia, for joining in on this platform. We'd now like to call upon, ladies and gentlemen, the moderator of this session. Now, when, of course, the panel is this strong, the moderator has to match up, or rather be even further. So I think we've got the perfect match for this one for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, he's somebody who's worked as an entrepreneurial technology leader, board advisor with over 2 decades of global experience in digital technology, business transformation, and operations. He's held senior leadership roles at HSBC, led initiatives with $300 million annual budget, also built and led the Digital Center of Excellence at Maersk, drove future payment technologies at Visa. He was also somebody who led major innovations like Apple Pay and payment tokenization. Let's give him a warm round of applause as we welcome him as a moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, Ritesh Jain. So with this, Ritesh, I'll leave it in your able hands and expertise to take it forward with your panel, and maybe begin the timer now. Thank you.
So yeah, definitely it's a difficult job to have a stellar panel and do justice with that. So I'll try my best in half an hour. And as we are talking about, it's a very rugged topic nowadays. It's a future of banking and financial services, AI-driven and transformation, and specifically focus on the tech side. So as we know that we are talking about the systems and AI, and it's not about the systems and AI anymore. So it's mainly about the trust, transparency, and the human first in the digital era. That's where we are moving in. So now the question is like, are we really at the right pace from the sector perspective or the banking perspective? Because banking have always been seen as trying to move ahead of the curve. However, there was a spanner here, regulators are here, and a lot of bankers who know, we know that there are spanners like regulations, and it is basically to safeguard customers because we have got a significant responsibility for risk management. So my first question to you would be, it's been a long time we are talking about the digitization, and it's been a long time we are talking about the AI, and we have seen that enough. And just to give you, as I was talking outside, 2009 we have implemented RTS, which is the real-time scoring for the transaction before your authorization at Visa. So I'm talking about 16 years back. So friends, 16 years back we have implemented real-time scoring platform at Visa. So your transaction gets scored before the authorization in the milliseconds. And today if we talk about the same thing, we are not doing the justice, right? So good to see you, Vaibhav. So my question to you, I would take Prabhuji, specifically, as we are talking about, it's been a decade now, right? So are we really intelligent enough, or we are talking about we are still in the automation phase, or we are digitizing and the automating at the moment? Prabhuji.
Yeah, hi, Ritesh, thanks for the introduction. So it's like this is, we are on the cusp of the third technological revolution, as all of you in the room know. First was the PC, second was internet, and they say today is the AI is the third tech revolution. Now, just before coming here, I was wondering in the car what to speak on. And then I remembered a BCG report of 2019 on banking financial services in the future. Today's 2026. Not one word in the report had AI in it. So definitely BCG missed the plot. So what did we understand that BCG didn't get 5 or 6 years back? Are we at the same stage? Are we missing something now which we will not see till another 5, 6 years ahead? So I think obviously this is AI session and everybody's talking about AI, both AGI, GA, etc. But originally we used to call it analytics, and before that statistical inference. So you come down the journey, you put different names against that. Then traditionally we looked at in banking financial services a kind of a horizontal stack. You had customer in the front end, product and services in the middle layer, and then infra the third. Then we moved to integrated full stack solutions. So to answer your question, going forward, it's going to be a hybrid of horizontal and full stack, which AI then goes and quickly, has agentic APIs and all come in. So there'll be a very mishmash of everything. And not just AI will always depend on traditional conventional technologies, but also spit out things faster, maybe more accurately, maybe a more interactive manner than they have in the past. But still, we are still a little far ahead. I hear about these banks and PSUs doing a lot of work in. Frankly, as a customer, I have not seen anything hit me, except a lot of spam. So, I don't know when you're sitting inside the bank, and I do bank with some of the large banks, and I've been a co-founder of a fintech company many years back. They're behind the curve. They're good at quickly using words to tag it, but the ultimate impact on customer and country and sector, there's a time lap. So I hope sometime during the next few years, we see some impact on customers so that we all can relate to ये AI क्या कर रहा है हमारे लिए. अभी तो मेरे को कुछ याद नहीं रहा है. Talk के लिए अच्छा है, customer के लिए क्या है?
Thank you, Prabhu. Chandra, I would like to come back to you if you'd like to add something on, as well as I have got a question for you. So if you would like to add something on, please go ahead.
Yes. So in the past, if you see 5 years, right, we have seen a lot of fintechs take a lot of share of the market from the banks because of the automation that you mentioned, right? The processes were slower in the banks, the systems were legacy systems moving slower. With AI, it's shifting towards intelligence. The banks have a lot of data if they can tap it. And I'm saying if, right? They have a lot of information that's siloed. If they can tap it, they are sitting on a gold mine that they can exploit, and they will move ahead of the fintechs, the lead that they have gained. So that's how I see it.
So, Chandra, I would like to intersect over here because, like if I go back 16 years back, please don't go on my way when I'm talking about 16 years. What I meant is like when we were implementing real-time scoring at one of the largest payment processors in the world, I was very clear that we could be as intelligent as the data that we hold. But when I led Apple Pay for Apple and Visa by 2015, my perspective has completely changed that we could be as intelligent as the data that we have access to. So now my question comes down to today, are we really just scratching the surface on the AI? Or are we really looking for deeper, where I say AI as an infrastructure? So Jayesh, I would like to come back to you, given your technology background and perspective.
Yeah, your first question, are we intelligent? Yes, that's why we are here. And we are not opposing, but we are discussing artificial intelligence. When we talk something artificial, when natural is sort of 150 crore plus country has enough intelligence. So we are discussing on artificial intelligence, and many a times our slowness in a decision is considered as our disability. It is not a disability. Not doing something is also a decision, and doing at the right time is also a decision. So surely we are intelligent, maybe over-intelligent. The key factor is the technology diffusion. That technology, how you diffuse, ye Bharat hai. How you diffuse that here in India, and diffusion needs the intelligence bureau, and blast needs the terrorist. We are intelligent enough, and we need and we discuss how to implement that in India. So surely it's going to be a need, but it's up to us how we diffuse that in our environment, our culture. So that's the key factor, even though it is a technology. Thank you.
Thank you. So my question was around, thank you for a very elaborate answer, and I really appreciate that. Now the question is around when I said, are we intelligent enough, as well as scratching the surface? Now that is leading to that we have got banks, and we are talking about the financial services and the transformation, right? We have got a legacy course. At the same time, we have got the Mambos of the world, and I will not take the names over here, but we have got a modern composable architecture in terms of the core banking. So can they coexist? So we are talking about the legacy cores, we are talking about the AI-driven core platforms. So how they coexist? Babo.
Thanks, Ritesh. A very interesting question. See, AI is not new, okay? But what we are doing with AI is new, definitely. A lot of, when it comes to coexistence, let me tell you, and we have been working on a lot of these transformation programs. A lot of the processes that the banks were actually running at the backgrounds, especially on the operations side, they have now been taken over by AI, okay? There are bots, and these bots do the processes far more efficiently, far more faster than what the manpower, the ops team used to do. Okay, that is probably just P1 of AI today, and then a P1 of AI is also where a lot of AI is used in customer service. There is agentic AI, there is conversational AI, so on and so forth. Coexistence, yes, it will happen, because at the end of the day, banks is all about trust, and I always say that, okay? And AI does not instill trust when it comes to human mind, at least, and that is where AI as a technology, AI as a tool, is a very interesting and very fascinating thing to have from a transformation and automation perspective, but when it comes to banking, finally, at least for the next decade to come, it is still going to be about trust.
Thank you. So, it's very interesting when you mentioned about the trust because, in financial services, it's all about the risk, right? And in KU, I'll come back to you. Like, in AI, there's a significant amount of use cases which is related to the credit risk of an individual. Now, my question is, are we really doing justice with that? Because what my understanding is, we don't have enough data. And generally, I will use the cliche like that garbage in, garbage out. So are we really intelligent to make the credit risk modeling based on the data that we have, or how we can utilize it in a better way? Yes, please.
So range of technological developments have happened over several decades that we have seen. And each one have brought an incremental improvement in the way banks function. Interestingly, banking is the only sector or is one of the foremost sector in terms of the impact of technological developments. Why banking is the foremost sector in terms of impact on technological development? Because it deals with information, it deals with a lot of data. Unlike manufacturing sector where there is a physical flow also underlying. Here there is only information flow. And you deal with enormous of data and the data has to be secured enough, trustworthy enough. So the point that comes out here is that when you are looking at the analysis of the data using AI, the analysis is as good as the quality of the data we have. Interestingly, all the data related to the credit risk assessment are not really available in the system. So what earlier also one of the speaker told, that it's not how much data is there, how much data we have. So the problem lies is when I speak to the bankers and I said, now AI would have made your life easier as far as credit risk assessment is concerned. No, we have data, but we don't know whether the data we have is adequate. The second one is whether the data we have is accurate. And are we capturing, so there are few questions that comes out. Are we having the data, right kind of data? Second, are the data capturing what we want? Third is, are we missing out the data that we don't have? And are we sitting on too much of data which is useless? So therefore, all those aspects have made credit risk modeling really a challenge. So just looking at AI, one really cannot implement a credit risk modeling so perfectly. So we need also the data outside the banking system. And unless banking system through API captures those data, it's not going to work. Now one important thing that has happened in India in last few years is democratization of digitization. So digital democratization happened and everybody is somehow providing data to the digital infrastructure of the country. So those data, all of them are not in the domain of banking system. There are certain data which are outside the domain of banking system. So if those data also comes along with the data in the banking system, probably the credit risk modeling might improve in that case. So that is what my take is.
Thank you. Pawan, yeah, please go ahead.
Just to add, because I worked into the risk modeling for like almost 15 years, one point is the accessibility of the data which you asked earlier. But you need to understand in the banking, there are large silos which exist. So every team, every department having their data sitting in their own system, and the integration and then the harmonization, that is also a big challenge. So when you're making a model, the same data sitting with 3 different labels, the model will not be able to identify that. And the second part, which is very most important, even if the AI comes, there is always a human bias which impacts these modeling. So those biases also need to be somehow being identified, assessed and mitigated so that the risk modeling which is happening is not impacted by the human biases. So these are the 2 aspects. One is the integration and harmonization, and second is the avoiding of the human biases need to be taken care of.
Thank you, Pawan. Deepak, I would like to come back to you. Specifically, we are talking about the technology, we are talking about banking, finance. One thing which, so you're coming from the World Bank and I sit on the GPFI, which is the Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion. I have my own views on the financial inclusion, which I talk very out loud globally, that the whole definition is flawed, right? Now, the definition of the financial inclusion is flawed. The reason is because in a country where, in India, we talk about the 89% inclusion, while our literacy rate is 24%. So that is not humanly possible, right? So we can have that separate panel for that. But whether the AI is causing a digital divide or it is basically helping out the inclusion. So, please.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's a very interesting question. Digital divide, okay, that's itself is a misconception, right? How do we define a digital divide? Is it because of our understanding of our audience and our target segment? Or is it that the target segment doesn't understand what we talk? The biggest challenge is, what have we done even in the real world to include people who we are trying to sell our product, right? Selling is the biggest challenge which everyone has. But have we really gone down to the ground level, tried to understand that how does he think? What language does he speak? What dialect does he speak? Right? We talk about AI. Now, tell me one lingual model which the AI has mastered 100%. Right? And that's a challenge which we face every day when we are incorporating multiple digital solutions for banks or NBFCs, or even if you look at retail or FMCG companies. The challenge is not about AI. I think AI should be used as an enabler like any other technology. It's how good are your systems. We talked about, what data we have access to. But what about real-time data being generated, which we have no clue about? What is the form of the data which is being generated? We have no clue about. The feet on street who is generating data in an unstructured format, how are we capturing it? And how are we converting that data to be utilized? So my suggestion is that, use AI for what it does best. Repeatable tasks to start with, build confidence, stick to the processes. Don't compromise on the process because no one is as intelligent as a human even now. You still need some time for AI to evolve and make it inclusive first to your technology rather than looking at including the large masses. That's the point I would.
Thank you, Deepak. Suresh, I'm coming back to you. You wear multiple hats and congratulations on the awards, right? But you are in the computer society of the country, in different places and including in the sectors like Mahindra's, right? Now, I would like to understand from you that how do you see the technology changing the banking as for the retail customers? I'll come back to the commercial customers later on. But how these technologies, specifically AI, changing the customer experiences and where you see it is going to disrupt. So there are different sectors, right? Payment we have seen, we have built up the UPI. It has got its own flaws, that's a different thing. But we are leading the world in terms of the number of transactions, right? Because we understood that. We were not so great in the adoption like pigs, but we have done really, really well given the size of the country. At the same time, so payment and the wealth, the penetration is increasing day by day. We are seeing the Go IPO and all Zerodha and everybody else that we know. So the penetration is increasing, as well as we have got the banking side, which is lending, which is a fundamental or universal banking business model. Because in the whole financial services, it's all about lending. Ultimately, it ends up at lending because that's where you make money, right? So where you see is disrupting first.
Great. Even a question itself is big, so I have to stick to 3 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever to do it. Thanks for this opportunity with you all today. 90 seconds, that's what is correcting me. See, in India, e-business is less to do with electronics and more to do with emotions. So the digital iteration, if you see in terms of banking has to know, is post-COVID, prior to COVID. So post-COVID, you can see a lot more chances of operations is moved, especially the digital transformation from corporate digital towards customer digital. That's where the twist, the regulated banks trying to fit in, where it's not so easy, where they were keeping their internal stakeholders happy so far. Now they have to keep the external customers, and every individual customer is to be treated as corporate, and the solution should be firm around. That's what the real challenge where banks are trying to fit in, or banks are even trying to fit in, especially in India, like how we can try to reach out to them. Again, speed and reach, that's going to be the mantra in terms of especially when it comes to BFSI. The major challenge, if you see still today, is connectivity, electricity, and resource availability. So we talk big things when it comes to solutions, but when it comes to rural especially, where a lot more reality in terms of requirement is there, that we still didn't understand or we didn't appreciate what is that customer exactly required. That's what everybody puts by saying either it's infrastructure or multilingual, but it's very clear cut in India. Every family has a different setup. That intelligence has to be captured, that has to be brought in part of the technology. That's what even the regulators, they struggle a lot to assign how to identify that intelligence which is going to satisfy even a community, religion, region, or an individual family. That's a real challenge.
Thank you, Suresh. Please, Kev. Yeah, please.
So your question is, where does AI disrupt the most?
Yeah.
Actually, it is not disrupting, it is transforming, it is improving. And there is no disruption, but these are the 4 or 5 areas where AI is disrupting or transforming the most. The one is the customer facing side, wherein how you understand the customer needs and customer requirements, and a lot of data related to customer can be analyzed in an intelligent way. So you can pitch a better product or more hyper personalized product. That is the one area where transformation is happening. Second area, that's where transformation is happening, is credit granting decisions, where you can pull range of data from different sources, not only from the banking data sources, but other sources. And then it can also improve the financial inclusion of it, because there are certain people which are not fully banked, or they are slightly marginal in terms of inclusion in the banking sector. So those people, data can help to provide credit to them. The third area where the transformation can happen is improving the operating efficiencies. And the fourth area where the transformation can happen is improving the compliances and governance and reporting part. And the final area is on the risk management. So these are the 4 or 5 areas where AI is bringing transformation or enhancement in the banking sector.
Thank you, Kyo. That's really, thank you for elaborating that. Purvi, I've got a question for you. You know, you wear multiple hats and in the different companies as a board, as well as you are an avid investor as well, right? So there's a transformation happening across the banking sector. I will not call it as a disruption, as you rightly said. And we are going through the transformation. There's a fintech, there's a significant amount of collaboration between the banks and the fintechs. Where you see the opportunity, and now I want you to put your hat as an investor, when you're writing the check, that where you would like to invest.
First of all, I want somebody in this room to write me a check. Because we are just filed our DHRP about a few years back, and we are refiling hopefully soon, but always welcome for any fresh investments. Having said that, just to answer your point, the future of AI is going to be what I call 3LM, localized large language models, totally missing in this country. We have somebody said 150 crore people, so much data, but not one AI engine has come out from this country, either industry-wise, region-wise, nationwide. Why is that? Everybody's sucking your data up. Perplexity is here, Anthropic is here, Meta is here. They're all coming and setting up one GW data center. So what purpose? Because they're in love with us? I don't think so. They're in love with your data. Data is king. Data is the new oil. Those Western countries don't have such large databases. Professor will know that the larger your N is, the better your mean is, more accurate your universal mean to the normalized mean. So it's called large data modeling. Better mean and better predictability will be there, the larger amount of data is there. We have so much of data, we have not been able to crack it. So 3LM model. Second is just to, my colleagues on both sides are very clear. I think the usages in financial awareness and literacy and inclusion. There's a large dark market of people not in the banking system. If the data is not in your system, how will you create products? How will you create services? How will you reach out to them? There's dark data. India should go and get that data because nobody else has the data. And third is just to wind up is that we have been focusing AI too much in cost optimization and minimization, less on products and services, customer engagement. So if these two we use AI, local language, vernacularization, dialect, regional or community-specific sachet products, quick scoring, and quick creditworthiness, quick cutting of checks. These will start making impact on society. So we need our own language models, and we need it localized and contextualized. I think unless we do that, we'll always be giving data to others. They'll be winning on you. DeepSeek in China is winning, but we don't want to. If you do a search on Arunachal Pradesh DeepSeek, you'll say there's no Arunachal Pradesh in India. So that's their contextual issue. Should we all build our own rings, firewall our own data? I don't think so. Quickly build up your own database.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's really interesting and very aptly put forward, because we see that as a challenge with the even with all the good and great of the AI mission that we are building up. And so things are coming out. I can definitely say, in nutshell, that things are coming out in a better way, and there was a lot of development which is happening. So in next 18 to 24 months, or rather 36 months, we will see a significant amount of transformation in the country. Now, Chandra, I would like to come back to you, especially, we talk about the banking, so the core goes along with it, right? The core banking and everything else around it. It's a pain point, and I'm sure a lot of bankers over here, right? And we know what is the problem with the core banking, right? Because if we have to transform that, it's a significant amount of challenge and the cost associated with it as well. So basically what we do, we keep moving, augmenting it over the period of time. Now my question is, we are in the composable architecture today, where we have got a composable architecture building blocks. So do you really see that the composable architecture are going to be the augmented for the core banking over the period of time, or they will completely replace it?
It's a very interesting question, because so far, if you look at the way banking has progressed, right, and you rightly kind of covered that, is we have been plugging in things on top of the core, and over time that's started becoming very unwieldy and monolithic, right? And that's become a challenge. How will AI impact that, and how will AI work with that? And this is me speaking as a consultant who's been working with a lot of banks trying to adapt and adopt AI. There are two types of AI use cases, and specifically generative AI use cases, that we see today. One, as somebody else also mentioned, is around customer service, right? Those are the kind of models that you can very easily take from a service provider and use it. But the other side of it is your own data that you have. You don't want that going out and becoming, party for somebody else's this thing. So you should be doing a composite approach. You should create your models that are in-house. Today, models can be done in-house. I'll just take one example. 2 Indian engineers, right, have created a voice model that runs on a single GPU and is ranked number 2 today in the world, right? It's better than Google's voice engine. It's called Maya, right? You can look it up. So it is possible to have your own models that run on very efficient hardware. It is possible to have your own decision models around, decision on credit risk, decision on personalizing your customers' interactions and all of that. Use that intelligence, combine it with the open source models, which will give you, customer engagement and all of that. And I think that hybrid is the way to go forward.
Thank you, Chandra. We are approaching time as well, so I would rather, wrap it up now. Otherwise, I will be booted out from here, right? So I would like to just ask one thing in one sentence or the word, that how do you see the technology in the banking, especially around AI, in the next 5 years? One word. Deepak, starting with you, please. Integration. That's great. Bevo?
Disruption.
Thank you. That's great.
I'll take a sentence. Focus on the problems, not on just trying to implement AI for the sake of implementing AI.
Thank you, Chandra.
The future belief which converts the behaviors into best business part of Bharat.
Thank you. Thank you, Suresh. Praviji?
Hi, curated AI, CAI, human in the loop.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you.
So it will make banks more predictive, productive, and personalization will improve for the banking sector.
Thank you, Kyo.
I will say banking is not AI versus human, it's AI with human, where intelligence will increase the human productivity.
Thank you, Pawan. That's augmentation, right? Basically, that's what you are talking about. Thank you.
AI plus HI will bring a transformation in bank, basically, which is a one-way traffic. It won't be possible to come back wherever we go after AI through transformation.
Thank you. So, nutshell, we know that what it's all about, whether we talk about the technology in the banking or the AI, but it's ultimately all about understanding the human perspective and the human-centric designs and the technology. So thank you very much. Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to all our speakers. May we request all of you to please step forward ahead of the tables. If you can all step forward ahead of the tables so that we can capture a better frame. Can we request our speakers to try and step a little bit ahead of the tables? Thank you. May I also request Shri Muralidhar Manchala, who is of course one of our speakers, DGM FinTech Department, RBI, to please join us and help us in giving a token of appreciation to all our speakers. Of course, we'll go ahead in no particular order, but starting with our moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed their conversation, we can give them an encouraging round of applause. So let those claps continue as we thank all our speakers. Thank you to each and every one of them for joining in. Of course, a lot of dignitaries are joining in to give away the token of appreciation. Some fantastic points which was spoken from a technology perspective on this current topic. Thank you to Dr. Ritesh for curating such an excellent discussion for all of us. Thank you, Jayesh, Pawan, Professor Kayur, Prabir, Dr. Suresh, Chandramouli, Vaibhav, Deepak, all of you, thank you so much. It's a full power-packed, this is what we call a power-packed panel, don't we? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Lead, learn, celebrate, truly going by the theme that they've been leading in all their forums. We're learning from them, and together in the evening, we're going to be celebrating excellence in the room. So we just request all our speakers to join in for the group photograph. Of course, smiles are encouraged. This is one of the rare moments on a Saturday morning we're going to be smiling at a forum. So thank you so much. Thank you once again.